Hi, welcome to Relish Books. Today I'm just doing a quick little video update on several books that I've mentioned that I was reading, but I didn't feel like any of them really needed their own video. So I'm just going to go over a few books that I have read or read part of recently. So Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayers. This is just like your basic mystery novel. She's considered like a classic mystery author, I guess. So I wanted to give her a try. Definitely better by the end than at the beginning. I thought that the main character was pretty annoying, and he stayed annoying the whole way through. You get a little more insight into his character, a little more depth is developed, which I did appreciate. So by the end, I was definitely more invested, but it is just like your basic mystery, nothing special. I don't really feel like any of the characters were really anything special, so I probably won't read any more of her books. A couple things in there that bugged me. One being, I don't like it when mystery novels constantly reference other mystery novels and kind of disrespect them in a way. A lot of books do this with Sherlock Holmes. A lot of mystery novels refer a lot to Sherlock Holmes and kind of be like, oh, in the novels it's this way, but things really wouldn't be like that. Referencing Sherlock Holmes, referencing his methods and stuff as being unrealistic, and it almost just feels like the author is saying, yeah, I can't live up to that, but so they have to kind of defend themselves in a sense. I don't know if that's really what's going on, but also it just feels cheap for I don't like it when any books do this, when they like talk about, oh, if this were a book, this thing wouldn't be happening, when it's something very basic that does happen in books all the time. So like trying to make it feel more real by referring to books, but like this is the reality, when this book felt honestly in a lot of ways less realistic than most Sherlock Holmes stories. So I didn't like that. Another thing I didn't like was the full written out confession explaining every little detail by the murderer at the end. I'm sure that happens sometimes in real life, but it's just, in a book like this, it just feels like an excuse to fully explain everything. And we didn't even need everything that fully explained, like over the top. I felt like, some shortcuts, some cheap writing, not great. It was fine. By the end, again, I was invested. I was like, okay, I'm motivated to get through it, but not great. I thought I would just mention this one because I made a video recently talking about when to quit reading a novel, and there's a lot of different reasons for doing that, but I literally quit From Russia with Love on the first or second page. That might be a slight exaggeration. It might have been like the third page. I was like okay. Yeah, okay, I read a few pages. But I stopped within the first chapter. I was like, sometimes with a book, if there's a setting and opening that has a bunch of weird stuff that you're not into, and that's the setting for the story, even if that's not going to be the way the story is all the way through, if that's the setting, it's kind of like, okay, I know what kind of a writer I'm dealing with. I know what kind of a story, what kind of a mood the story is going to have, what kind of a tone, and I don't like it. I don't want it. Yeah, it started right off the bat with this super weird interaction between a couple of people, and yeah, it was really awkward. I don't know if the whole book is going to be like that, but if that's how the author's choosing to set the tone of the story, I want nothing to do with it. So, From Russia with Love, I quit first couple pages in. Don't recommend. I don't know. And then the other book, I had talked about it a little bit before in another video because I had read probably half of it at that point. But Comet in Moominland. I had wanted to read the Moomins for a long time, and this is the first one that I actually read all the way through. I don't have a copy of it. I ended up reading it on my phone. I think our library only has like 2 of the later ones. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. I really love the quirkiness of it. It feels very unusual. It does not feel, they're these little hippo characters, and you feel like it should be a children's book, but reading it, it does not feel like a children's book. It feels like an adult just creating something fun, just creating something, like this was her imaginary kind of world with these characters, and she just was playful and she did whatever she wanted in this world. There's all these little hippos, but then there are these other creatures that we don't really know what they are, but there's also humans and references to human culture and world history. And so it feels like you're in this fairy tale land, but there's references to like our world. And yeah, it's really interesting. And like all the little hippos can be like friends with the humans. They speak the same language, but then there's some animals that are just animals. And then there are like monsters. It's very interesting, very fun. Again, and like these little references here and there, just quirky little things that just make it feel like, okay, this was not, like I said, this was not written as a children's novel. This was written for anybody with an imagination, with a sense of humor, with a willingness to kind of embrace a playful, magical world. So yeah, I think it's great to like read with your kids, but also just read as an adult. So I would like to read more of them. They're very laid back. It was on the edge of being too slow paced for me. A little too, like she had this world that she loved and these characters that she loved, but she has to kind of just make up, the events of the story as she goes. So that felt a little blocky maybe at times, but overall I really enjoyed it. I would really recommend it, and I would like to read more. So those are just a couple of the books that I'd mentioned reading recently, and just wanted to give a little update on them, even though, yeah, I didn't feel like each one needed its own video. Just kind of, these were some of my side reads. The main thing I'm working on right now, after finishing The Portrait of a Lady, I'm working on The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner. So I should have a review of that within the next couple days. I'm kind of saying that to motivate myself because it's Faulkner and he is tough going. But I will let you know what I thought of his book soon. So that is my little update. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.